Hey crocheters, had a question come in that we want to answer today on back V crocheting and front V crocheting. These are two concepts that sometimes are mentioned in patterns where there's an edging. A lot of time on the bottoms of baskets this will be used, which we will use this in an upcoming class. I believe it's in May. We're going to make baskets out of old LCDs or Cool Whip containers, the lids. That's going to be the stability of the inside of our baskets when we learn to crochet baskets. And this will be one of those concepts that we use when we do the edging part. So I want to go over it because it was asked and we will use it down the line. So those of you that come to our local classes. Today, just using the, if I can get it in focus, the H, the 5mm, and then just some regular extra yarn that I had. So in looking at this piece, I'm going to show you what they're talking about, and then we'll go over how to do it. So if you see this piece, this is just regular double crochet, just a little sample I've done. But if you'll notice, compared to other double crocheting, you can see this line that appears at the top of my row. And so it's like an edging. And if you wanted to make a basket or a makeup holder or a box or something, you could fold along that line and it would give your project stability because that line is not crocheted. You see that, how it would start, and I could crochet up and then I could crochet other sides and it would make a box and I would have this nice edging right here. So the question is, this is called front V crocheting and back V crocheting, and it takes both because if you'll notice, when you're crocheting a project, you're going to start here and go this way, then you're going to turn and go this way, then you're going to turn and go this way. Notice these lines are staying on this side though. That's where the front and back comes in. One of these is a front only crochet and one of these is a back only crochet. So you end up using them both in your project if you're doing a piece like this where you're going to be turning your project back and forth. If you're doing a round circle for the bottom of the basket, you're only going to use the front V crochet. So I want to show you what they both mean and what they are, and that way that will answer those questions. So we're ready to turn. I'm going to turn my project. I'm going to chain 2 for my first double crochet, and I'm getting ready to double crochet into this stitch here, and you'll see my V's right there. So this, not this V where we're already in by our hook, but this one right here would be my next one. This on the back side is what normal double crochet looks like. No lines, no V's showing. We're just going in the V and out the V and crocheting the right way. So this first one we're going to do is called the back V crochet. So if you'll notice on your V, we want that line to show up on the back side of our pattern because we're faced this way now. If you look at your V's, you have 2 legs for every V. So the V's are like that. You're working sideways. So I like to call them less than signs. You have a leg on the back right here and a leg on the front of every V. That's what that means. The back V crochet and the front V crochet. So of this V right here, we're only going to work in this back leg. That's going to make that line appear. If we're going the other way, we're only going to work in the front. So on this V, the front of my pattern is right there. That's the front. This is the back of my pattern. So we're going to work in the back of the V. I'm going to double crochet just like normal. Yarn over. I only want to go in the back leg of my V. So I'm only going to pick up the back leg of my V. So there's my V. I've picked up the back leg only. I'm not going through the whole stitch, just the back leg, and doing just regular double crochet, pull through 2, pull through 2. Again, yarn over, just pick up that back leg of your V, if you can see that, yarn through just like a normal double crochet. As you do that all the way down, and you're leaving that front one by itself, not picking it up, well, that little piece of yarn didn't want to cooperate with me. Hold on here just a second. There we go. As you go and get a few stitches going where you've just used that back leg, picked up that back leg to crochet, when you turn your piece around, the leg that you're leaving off, which here you can really see it because I'm halfway through, you can see that I'm only picking up this back leg as I crochet down my project, which leaves this front leg exposed. It's not weaved in, it's not being used, it's just hanging out here. So that's what makes that line, if you can see that. That is that front leg of that V just being left alone. And so it stays there and makes that line on the front of your pattern. So can you see that? There's where we've picked up and left the front leg. So this is the stitch we just left. We're going to put a stitch in here. So that front of that V just gets left alone and it ends up making a line on our pattern. So we'll finish this row out real quick. Again, just picking up that front one, which is the one towards us. And then finish out on your row, and the end one on your row, and you're ready to turn. So we're ready to turn. We're going to chain 2. So we were working in the back of the V. Now we're going to be working in the front of the V because now the front of our pattern is facing us. There's that line we just completed. So now we're ready to put a line on this row. This row, our V's are going the other way. We've turned. There's our less than V's. We're ready to work across the back way. This time, you're going to go in the opposite leg, the leg that you didn't just do. So facing this way again, you're going to skip this one because you're already in it. There's our V. You're going to do a double crochet like normal or whatever stitch you're using. This time you're going to go in the back leg of the V. So if you can see that, there's the V. I'm only picking up that back leg, pulling through and double crocheting like normal. Pull through 2. Pull through 2, but again, whatever stitch you're using, it'll work the same. So see, I've only gone in that one leg. I've left the front leg alone. So again, I just yarn over, pick up just the back of that V, do my double crochet, pick up just the back of that V, and do my double crochet like normal. You'll see that front of that V is being left alone. Nothing's going in and out of it, so it starts just to make that line. That is the front V and back V. That's how they get those lines in that pattern. And like I said, if you're making a basket and you wanted to make you always start with the bottom of the basket. You make the bottom from the center out, and then you crochet up the sides. If this was the edging of our basket, that folds just along that nicely. You don't even really have to, I mean, literally it just folds because you've left that edging there. So then that becomes the side of your basket. That becomes the bottom of your basket. And it's naturally just done by leaving that edging there. And then you have an edging, like you sit that on the ground and it looks like it's been finished and it has the edging, but it folds naturally to make that edge up that wall. So that's how they do that. I hope that answers that question on what the front V stitch is and the back V stitch is. It's just going in one side of the V or the other, depending on which way you are crocheting. Now, on a piece like this, again, I'll just remind you, since the front is this way and the back is the other way, if you want all your lines on the front, you're going to switch every other time you turn from the front to the back. So going down, you're going to crochet only in the back. Going this way, you're going to crochet only in the front. Only in the back, only in the front. If you're doing a piece that you only need, or that you don't care and you want the pattern on both sides, because like if you'll notice, there's no pattern on the back. This just looks like regular double crochet. But if you do want that, you would go down the front V, and when you turn, go down the front V, and when you turn, down the front V. And what that's going to do is skip every other line. You're going to have that line show up on this side, and every other line you're going to have that line show up on that side. So you can manipulate this how you want, do embellishments on whatever piece you want, but that's the general idea behind those front and back V stitches of what you're doing. You're just only picking up one leg of the V instead of 2, and depending on where you want that line to appear is which leg of the V you're going to pick up. Happy crocheting, and let me know if you use this in anything and show us some of your work in the comments.